Hey guys, after more than a decade of searching, drilling, digging, draining, scanning, and nearly blowing up half the island, the curse of Oak Island may finally be on the verge of answering the question that has haunted the world for over 2 centuries. What is buried on Oak Island, and who put it there? Season 13, Episode 4, airing November 25th, 2025, is titled The Smoking Gun. And if the episode title alone doesn't raise your eyebrows, the trailer absolutely will. The History Channel doesn't throw around a phrase like smoking gun unless they believe they have something that could shake the foundation of the entire Oak Island mystery. The official synopsis says the team is drilling deeper than ever into the Money Pit area. Now, if you've watched even a handful of episodes, you know the Laguinas and their team have sunk more shafts, caissons, and boreholes than most mining companies. For the show to claim they're going deeper than ever before means they are punching below every depth we've previously seen, including the legendary 170-foot level, where past searchers claim to hit mysterious platforms, tunnels, and the infamous booby trap flood system. Why go this deep again? Because technology has finally caught up to the Oak Island mystery. Over the past couple of years, new seismic testing, muon tomography scans, and advanced borehole imaging have pointed toward something with shape, structure, and density far beneath the modern search levels. The team is no longer blindly punching holes. They know where they're going. And Episode 4 makes it clear that whatever they're drilling toward is important enough to overshadow a decade of false starts. But the craziest part? The Money Pit isn't even the biggest shock of the episode. Hold it. Whoa. Something in the swamp. Veteran viewers know that when Rick Laguina says hold it, something big is about to happen. And in the preview, he and the crew react to a discovery in the swamp. Yes, the swamp again, with a level of shock we almost never see. Here's what's said in the teaser. Another feature in the swamp. What in the world is happening? This feature could help us unwrap the whole mystery. This isn't just a random log or another old plank. The team has spent years proving the swamp is not a natural formation. It's potentially man-made, or at least man-modified. Season after season has revealed carefully laid stones, strange geometric patterns, wooden slipways, and even the famous ship-shaped anomaly that may not be an anomaly at all. So, what's different this time? The tone. The intensity, the surprise. Something showed up in the swamp that none of them were expecting, something engineered, something out of place, or something valuable. And then comes the bombshell. The trailer shows Gary Drayton, Oak Island's resident metal-detecting wizard, running his pinpointer over something small, metallic, and decorated. His words, there, it is right there. It's got some sort of design on it. If it's a silver coin, that's treasure. It's what we're looking for. And then, from another team member, be prepared to be gobsmacked. This is going to be special. This is quite pure. Yes, absolutely. Gary Drayton does not hype lightly. If he says treasure, it's treasure. The fact that the object is described as pure hints strongly toward precious metal, likely silver, but possibly even gold. And here's the kicker. One line in the preview reveals this tiny object may have fallen to the bottom of the solution channel. That is not a casual remark. If this object traveled through the island's legendary flood tunnels or solution channels, that means this piece of treasure was originally somewhere deeper in the Money Pit system, which immediately raises the question, how did a centuries-old coin fragment or artifact end up in the swamp? Unless the swamp and the Money Pit are connected, which brings us to the most jaw-dropping possibility. The swamp-Money Pit connection, a coordinated operation? For years, fans have theorized that Oak Island wasn't built by a single group, but by an organized, well-resourced, engineering-minded order, one capable of designing flood tunnels, constructing underground chambers, and sacrificing decades to build a complex treasure protection system. If Episode 4 confirms a physical link between the swamp and the Money Pit, it changes the entire narrative. Such a link would mean the swamp wasn't just a hiding spot. It was a staging area. A ship or multiple ships may have been intentionally scuttled or concealed. The builders used the swamp and Money Pit as part of one coordinated operation. You don't do that unless you're protecting something truly precious, and you have the expertise to build it. Which leads us directly to the most controversial and exciting theory of all. Could medieval knights be involved? Fans have tossed around many groups over the years. Spanish explorers, French military engineers, British naval forces, pirates, Freemasons, the Portuguese, and of course the Knights Templar. The Templar theory has always been the most dramatic and the most contested. It ties Oak Island to the Holy Land, to lost treasure, to religious artifacts, maybe even to the Holy Grail itself. Most archaeologists roll their eyes at the idea, but every now and then, a discovery on Oak Island pushes the needle back toward the extraordinary. Lead artifacts traced to 13th century Europe, a sword allegedly of medieval design, Templar-style symbols on ancient stones, crosses resembling known Templar insignias, evidence of Portuguese and French exploration predating English settlement, small clues, but consistent ones. And now in episode 4, we may be looking at a treasure fragment, a coin, a medallion, or a religious emblem that directly connects the swamp to a medieval group. Is that proof? No. Is it the strongest evidence we've seen? Possibly. And if that tiny artifact is precious metal, extremely pure and decorated, well, that's the kind of object that could belong to a brotherhood of warrior monks with deep pockets and deeper secrets. We've all seen episodes hyped before. We've all seen game-changing finds turn out to be corroded nails or 19th century debris. So, what makes episode 4 different? 3 things. 1. The team's reactions are unusually intense. These guys are seasoned. It takes a lot to shock them. Their genuine surprise suggests something major. 2. The find is metallic, designed, and possibly pure. After 13 seasons, whenever a precious metal appears, it matters. 3. The swamp feature could help unwrap the whole mystery. The show has never used that kind of language lightly. Put all that together, and you get the feeling that something is about to break through the fog, something that ties the swamp, the money pit, and centuries-old activity into one cohesive story. So, what the hell is going on? Here's the most reasonable and most thrilling interpretation. Oak Island Swamp was part of the original treasure operation, not an accident of nature. Something valuable, possibly a coin, medallion, or emblem, originated deeper underground, moved through ancient channels, and ended up lodged in the swamp. This tiny artifact might be evidence of intentional treasure movement, a remnant of whoever built the money pit, a medieval or early modern object, proof that the swamp and money pit are part of the same engineered plan. And if the designs on this object match known historical symbols, then yes, this truly would be a smoking gun. The kind fans have been waiting for since episode 1. The treasure itself is exciting, but the real breakthrough would be a structural, intentional, centuries-old connection between the swamp and money pit. If episode 4 can demonstrate that link, the entire mystery becomes solvable. And that may be exactly the direction the show is heading. Because for the first time in a long time, things on Oak Island aren't just interesting, they're starting to make sense. What makes this moment even more electrifying is that the team seems to sense they're closing in on a discovery that will shift Oak Island from a treasure hunt to a historical revelation. For years, Rick Lagina has said the goal isn't gold, it's the truth. And in episode 4, that truth may finally be poking through the mud of the swamp, glinting in the sunlight. When Gary Drayton calls something quite pure, he's talking about metal quality, but symbolically, it feels like the perfect description of this moment. Clear, focused, unambiguous. The island is finally giving up something tangible. Another layer to this growing tension is the timing. We're only 4 episodes into season 13. The showrunners don't normally drop massive reveals this early. Big discoveries are typically reserved for mid-season or finale episodes. The fact that episode 4 carries a title as bold as The Smoking Gun suggests the producers know they're sitting on something huge, and they didn't want to bury it in the back half of the season. This kind of pacing implies we're in for a season stacking multiple discoveries on top of each other, building toward an explosive conclusion. We also can't ignore the emotional weight in the team's body language. In the footage, Marty Lagina, usually the skeptic, the engineer, the numbers guy, appears just as stunned as Rick. When Marty looks impressed, that's when viewers should sit up straight. He's the one who usually reigns in enthusiasm, who wants hard evidence, who warns against jumping to conclusions. Yet, in the preview, he's leaning in, eyes locked on the object in Gary's hand. That says more than any narration ever could. Add to that the fact that the swamp discovery and the deep money pit drilling are unfolding simultaneously. Historically, the show alternates locations. Money pit episodes, swamp episodes, Smith's Cove episodes. Rarely do the two biggest hotspots spike at the same time. But now, with seismic data pointing beneath the money pit and a mysterious feature emerging from the swamp, we might be witnessing two halves of a single puzzle snapping together. If these storylines converge, Season 13 could end up being the most cohesive narrative the show has ever delivered. There's also the tantalizing possibility that this newly discovered object contains iconography or symbols that link it to known historical groups. The trailer's emphasis on some sort of design is intentional. The editors want us to wonder, is it a cross? A crest? A marking associated with royalty, a military order, or a religious brotherhood? Even a partial design, if old enough, pure enough, or stylistically distinct enough, could anchor the object to a specific era. And if that era predates the known European settlement of Nova Scotia, it would rewrite Atlantic history in a single stroke. Meanwhile, the mention of the Solution Channel opens a floodgate of new speculation. This geological feature, part natural, part potentially engineered, has been discussed for years, but rarely with concrete evidence. If an artifact traveled through it, that means the channel was active at the time the item was lost or deposited. This could drastically narrow the timeline, showing when the treasure system was functioning. It could also prove the island's underground network wasn't just theoretical or derived from old searcher stories. It was real, active, and carrying material from one point to another. Above all, the emotional core of Episode 4 seems to be the sense that this discovery is not isolated. It's part of a chain reaction. A deeper drill hit in the money pit, a shocking object in the swamp, and a feature no one saw coming. All surfacing in the same episode. It feels like Oak Island is finally syncing up, revealing the edges of a map that looked chaotic for decades. And when those edges connect, we won't just be looking at another artifact. We'll be staring at the blueprint of one of history's greatest secrets.